So welcome to Yin Yoga, and tonight's practice, I've put it around the whole body again because I think it's just really restorative this time of year. And I've got my curtains closed, which I thought was going to block the light, but do you know, it's been lovely and cooling, so very cozy actually. So we're going to take a moment in seated. We're going to place the hands gently on the knees. Become aware of the tailbones and really root the tailbone to the ground, which will lift the spine up gently, allowing the shoulders to just move away from the ears. And you may wish just to gently close the eyes. And take a moment to connect. Connecting with where you are today on the mat. And also the breath. Starting to deepen the inhale and exhale very softly. In Yin, we keep the breath soft and even. And just allowing any thoughts to just pass through the mind. See them on their way. And bring your breath back to the center, to that grounding. And maybe gently open the eyes. And just drop chin to the chest, just allowing the back of the neck to stretch. Drawing all the way back up. And taking across to one side. If you wish, you can add a little bit of weight just by drawing the hand gently to the ear. You don't have to. And just breathing gently, allowing those thoughts to drift away. Gently releasing if you've got your hand just balanced, and draw back to center, allowing the neck to the opposite side. And again, if you wish, just allowing the hand to rest gently. Just keeping an awareness of the opposite knee, that it's not lifting slightly. And then very gently releasing. Taking a moment just to lift the shoulders to the ears. Allow the shoulders to just drop down the back, maybe taking the chin forwards. And just gently rotating the shoulders. Maybe one at a time, or both together. And then allowing yourself that deep stretch down the back of the neck again, dropping the shoulders away. And then draw yourself back up, relaxing the top body. If you're comfy, just still in seated, that's great. You can always come to more of a butterfly. We're going to work on the arms, so your choice. If you're comfy and seated, that's great. If not, you can bring 2 blocks into butterfly wherever you are. I'm comfy and seated at the moment, and we're going to work on reverse prayer arms. We're going to work down the body. And this upper body asana is a great way to stretch your wrists and also relieve aches and pains if you've been working at a computer. Just be aware of your wrists. So if you're not keen on reverse prayer, what you can do is you can wrap the hands around the wrists behind you. So you can do that behind. So first of all, we come to that comfortable seated position. Hands on the knees. Keep your tailbone to the ground, extending the crown of the head upwards. And we're gently going to reach our arms behind the back, bending the elbows and starting to press the palms. You can keep the fingers downwards if you wish, or you can turn the hands. If that's too much at the moment, just gently make it easier. Wrap your hands around your wrists. Lots of choices. Nothing should hurt. I'm actually taking my hands pointing down, opening across the chest. Keep the elbows just gently back. And inhale and exhale slowly and steadily. Breaths through the nose. And this posture, even with the modifications of the wrist, it can help open the chest and shoulders, and that can help promote good posture. We don't hold for too long in this pose. And we're going to slowly reverse out of the posture and gently bring the hands back to the knees. And take a little seated cat-cow here. So inhaling, lifting, exhaling, just tucking the chin and rolling the spine. Inhaling, lifting back up. Exhaling, rolling the spine. One more time. And then back to that seated position. And we're going to come to all fours, stacked back position. So if you want to put a blanket underneath the knees, you can do. And then gently coming to that stacked back position, pushing away. And we're going to thread the needle. So again, we're working down the body towards the shoulders. So taking the arm out the side and gently drawing under. If you wish, you can extend this pose, stretching through the upper back. Again, that slow and steady breath. And very gently, we're going to move back to that stacked back position. Push away from the mat, really engage with the mat. And come to the other side. So we're going to take the hand out to the side, thread the needle, and take a variation. You might want to take the hand forward or into a bind. allowing that slow and steady breath rising and falling. Inhaling and exhaling. And then just rising gently back to all fours. Pushing away from the mat, engaging the core gently. You're going to stretch the leg long, toes touching the mat, and gently push through the heel. Gaze between the thumbs. Deep inhale and exhale. Bring the leg back in, find your center, and extend on the other side. Really push into those fingertips, concentrating especially on the thumb and the first finger, and then spreading the weight to the rest of the hand, not forgetting to push back into the foot. And then bring the knee back underneath. We're coming to child's pose, wide child's pose. So bring the knees as wide as the yoga mat, and then sinking back to the hips, head coming down to the mat. Soft arms, you might just want to bring hands to elbows, or you might just want to stretch the arms out in front of you. Head can come to block. Cushion behind the heels if you need. Get yourself comfy. Expanding on the inhale, releasing the breath. And then rising back, we're going to bring ourselves to our toes at the back of the mat. So bring the knees back underneath you and allow yourself to spread the toes as you push into them and lift into a little toe balance with the hands gently at the heart and the gaze forwards. If you wish, you can bring the reverse prayer arms back into this, either with the hands gently with the fingertips pointing down, opening the shoulders, gently clasping the wrists, or you might feel that you can come into reverse prayer with hands pointing towards the crown. And don't forget to breathe, balancing, breathing, and softening. And then gently release the arms, bring the hands to the knees. And we're going to come forwards to winged dragon. So again, you can use the blanket under the knee if you wish. And we're going to really work on stacking the knee and the hip and bringing our foot forwards. So we're quite stacked in this winged dragon here. If you've got blocks, you can bring the pose quite high. If you want to extend the pose, then remember, you can take that knee back. It won't stack, but you'll get a quadricep stretch. So it's really your choice of pose. And if you're really wanting a very good stretch and you're feeling fairly agile, you can bring the hands gently to the mat. If you're doing that, take your foot to the side of the mat, roll out. So you've got lots of variations here. Wherever you are connecting. So my hands are on the mat and I can really feel the fingerprints. And don't meet that edge. So if it's really uncomfortable to start with, it's just going to feel uncomfortable. So find that Goldilocks chair. Just take a moment here. Opening with the breath. The inhale expanding. Slowly and steadily building the breath so the inhale matches the exhale. And you might even want to work towards a count of 4 on the inhale and a count of 4 on the exhale, but don't hyperventilate. Bring it to 2 or 3 if that's a wee bit much. You can pause at the top of the breath before the exhale. And as we slow the practice, we slow the breath. And very gently we reverse out of this pose. Bringing the knees to the back of the mat, maybe turning the palms to face the ceiling and sinking the hips back to the heels into a child's pose variation. That slow and steady breath. Even gently rocking the forehead on the mat. Before gently rising back up and drawing yourself to the opposite side. Bringing the foot forwards and finding a variation here. It might be that the foot rolls gently, or you keep the pose quite high. Your forearms can come to blocks, or a cushion on top just to soften. But find a place where you are not going to fidget, not going to kind of move and just allow yourself just to soften into the pose, ease, the sukha. So we can stay here just for a wee bit longer than we would normally in our hatha practice. Just meeting that wee bit of an edge after a wee while. And always bringing yourself back to that slow, steady, even breath. And if you find yourself starting to hold your breath, then it's time to come out of the pose. We're going to meet in child's pose. So very slowly and very gradually, we work our way out back into a child's pose, sinking the hips back, maybe bringing the forehead to the hands. Continuing that steady breath. And then draw yourself all the way back up. And we're going to come to straddle. So it's a seated position. Now, if you've got a blanket, it's quite nice to just raise the hips a little bit. So just an inch or two of a blanket at the back. And what we're going to do is we're going to start sitting in a comfortable position. So come to that seated position and just find that place where your tailbone's down again, shoulders are down, and the crown of the head extends upwards. And just allow yourself to be back upright. And then what we're going to do, we're going to extend our legs out to the sides. And we can keep a cushion or a block underneath the knees. You can keep the knees bent. It doesn't have to be really wide either. And hands can come in front of you, flat on the ground. Fingertips pointing towards the edge of the mat. And keep your toes pointing straight up. So get yourself comfy and straddle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tilt our pelvis slightly forwards. And that will help us just inhale and exhale here. Now, if the leg's straightening a bit uncomfy, just pop blocks underneath and allow the support. And if bringing the toes pointing up is just not nice, allow the toes to point. And then with our hands, we're going to walk our hands gently forwards. And as we walk our hands gently out to support us, we then allow the spine to round. We're not supporting any weight with our spine. And we're allowing the stretch to be on our inner leg. And once you've found that place, and it might be today my toes have naturally relaxed, that's comfy today. Allowing gravity to gently pull you slowly, maybe closer to the ground. Bending the knees if it's just too much of a stretch. And then inhale and exhale slowly. Steady breaths through your nose. If you're finding that you need support for your head, you can actually use a yoga block on its long end. Or if you need two, because you want to be higher, improvise. I'm totally supported. And I'm just allowing that breath to inhale and exhale. Keeping the breath steady and slow. Allowing the body to melt. And then we reverse very slowly out of the pose. Using your hands, pushing yourself all the way back up to seated. Moving any props. And maybe just taking a little butterfly here, drawing the feet together. Keeping quite a distance from the heels to the body. And again, allowing yourself either to sit upright or again that little fold. I'm gonna just take a moment to sit upright, opening the chest, maybe lengthening the neck, maybe just taking the nose in a half moon. And pausing just to stretch the neck. And then gently bringing the knees together. We're going to come all the way to our backs. Again, softening. If you've got your blanket, you can bring the blanket so you have a nice soft base. We're going to come all the way down to constructive rest pose. Allowing yourself to lengthen the spine along the mat. A different view. And just allow that tailbone to lengthen. The spine just to gently stretch, be supported. And if you have a block, we're going to take a supported bridge. So with the supported bridge, the block can come underneath you. And it's a bit finding that place. So lying on your back, bending your knees, keeping your feet really flat on the ground. Relax your arms by your side. And then just gently place that block underneath. As you press your feet into the ground, lift your hips off slightly. And the block is normally on its long side, placed directly under your hips. And then once you've placed the block, allow your arms to relax by your sides again, keeping your knees bent, your feet flat on the floor. To make it slightly easier, you can actually bring the block to the lower edge so it's slightly flatter. Just depends what's comfy for you. Wherever you are, keeping space between the chin and the chest. We still keep the integrity of the posture, so the knees in line with the hip points and the feet engaged on the mat. This also opens the chest. So again, bringing that awareness back to the inhale and the exhale, the slow and steady breath. Really allow the body to melt, draping over the block. That stillness just to wash over the body. And then just staying here just for a little longer. Maybe matching that breath, maybe a count of 3. And then gently reversing out of the posture back to constructive rest pose, allowing the spine just to come to the ground and be supported. And we're going to come to reverse shoelace. So to do this, we're going to bring the knees gently towards us and cross and see if we can keep the knees fairly even. So we'll go one way and we'll go the other. Now, if this is tricky for you to reach the ankles, you can actually use a strap or a blanket around the shins just to gently draw them to you, or hands on the shins. Or you might be able to gently take the feet. So I'm just gently clasping the outside edge of my foot. If you're holding your toes, use a pincer grip across the toes. Don't grab in between the toes and pull at the toe joint. So wherever you are, just allowing yourself to be comfortable. And if you really are finding it a tricky pose, then ease off and maybe just use the hands on the shins. Again, bringing your awareness back to the steady rise and fall of the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And then very gently, we're going to come to bring the knees into the chest. So unravel, draw the knees gently into the chest. Weight the hands on the knees. And just allow yourself to roll the spine gently one way. Really slowly and mindfully. The softness maybe of a blanket underneath you. And then turning, reversing that circle the other way. Allowing yourself just little movement in here before we come back to center. And then if you had the right foot over the top and the knee, swap to the opposite way for shoelace now, reverse shoelace. And reverse shoelace is kinder on the back than seated. But if you're getting tangled up in knots, just allow the knees to gently cross and bring maybe the hands to the shins. It's different every time, depending on the activity for the day. And again, allow that breath to rise and fall. Maybe breathing slightly deeper. And then very gently unraveling. And we're going to come to supine butterfly. So if you've got your cushions or blocks, then you can allow them to be supported either side behind the knees. And the blocks just underneath the back of the thigh, and allow the feet to slide away from you. Just keep a little pressure off the hips, allowing us to fully relax. And then hands gently placed either just on the thighs or, if comfy, the sides of the body. And here with the chest open, bringing that awareness back to the breath, the inhale. Maybe a count of 4. You might even wish to bring the hands above the head and stretch all the way through the body, maybe drawing hands gently palms facing up above the head. Just allowing a stretch through the top body and the shoulders. Breathing into the sides of the body. And then gently, if your hands are above the shoulders, bring them back. And gently moving the knees, guiding them together. And just take a moment in constructive rest pose here. And we're going to come back up to do so. We're going to roll onto our sides and push ourselves all the way back up to seated. Taking a moment in seated. And take the gaze outwards. So often when we come onto our backs, we bring the gaze inwards. Allow your gaze outwards. And then I'm going to take a little stretch with the arms, just bringing one hand up, catching the other behind. They don't have to meet, but just gently opening across the chest. If they are meeting, that's great, but don't force this pose. You can lengthen the neck if you wish, just by taking the gaze down. But keep the shoulders open. Releasing gently, stretching, taking the hand, stretching the opposite way, and drawing the hand to the other side. Again, you can use a strap if you wish, but just gently. And then gently releasing the arms. And we're going to come back to all fours. So you can keep the blanket on the mat if that's where it is. It's absolutely fine. If it's in the way of the hands, you can just flick it back a wee bit. So we're going to walk to a little puppy pose. So we're going to bring our hands, our forearms to the mat, and gently walk the knees until they're under the hips. And then allow our hips to rise a little. Now, you can bring a block to the forehead. The yin version, melting heart pose. Or a cushion just under the forehead if the block is too hard for you. And just allow the forearms to support the stacking of the knees underneath the hips. You can tuck toes if you wish. Just brings a little bit of energy to the feet. And take a big breath into the sides of the body. A big exhale out. And then we're going to come all the way down to the mat, to that Egyptian lion pose. Now, if you've got a bolster, you can just put it underneath gently behind the arms. Or just take the arms away from you to come into a softer version. And then push into the forearms. Maybe even push into the fingers. The pelvis and the fronts of the feet. Gaze can be gently down, or if comfy on the neck, then you can take the gaze forwards. And feel the hips melting into the mat. Extending the pose, you can stay in Egyptian lion, or you can take the hands outwards and gently rise to a gentle seal, pushing the hands away from the mat, keeping the elbows bent. Melting back down to Egyptian lion if you wish. And then bringing the forearms in front of you, stacking the forearms and bringing the head all the way down to the mat. Maybe just gently supported on the forearms. And allow every bit of the body to relax. Bring the hands gently to the sides of you. Push yourself back to child's pose. An extended child's pose if you wish, with the knees wide. Maybe a cushion or blanket behind the heels. And allow yourself, if you are stacking behind the hips, allow the head to be slightly higher. Breathing in and out slowly and steadily. And allow the hips to melt. Gently draw yourself back up to all fours. Stacking hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Push away from the mat and then gently drop into a wee cat-cow. Maybe taking stretch down the side body, one way and the other. Very slowly back and forwards, maybe not even dropping the belly as much as you normally would. Just allowing a stretch through the back of the body. Maybe tiptoes, stretching. And then gently coming back to flat back, Taking the feet just out to the side and coming back to seated. Draw yourself so you have plenty of room behind you, and allow yourself to roll back down. And if you have a block just to your side, we're going to come to a little reverse pigeon. So you can always keep the block and the foot just on the yoga mat. So the yin version of reverse pigeon is very, very soft. And as we do that, we just take the leg across and cross the ankle, just above the ankle and the leg. Very gentle. You can take the bind if you wish, if that's a better pose for you. If you feel that you just want a little bit more edge, drawing the knee towards you. And in yin, it is acceptable to extend the leg and stretch through the back of the leg as well if you wish. So there's lots of modifications in this pose. And then gently unraveling, finding the opposite side, modification to suit. And the block under the foot allows you to push the sole of the foot and ground into the yoga block, giving a little height, which takes any pressure off the hips. Just a very gentle hip opener. Or take a modification, take a bind or extend the leg. And then allow yourself to come off the blocks. Move the props to one side. And gently take a supine twist. So either a little windshield wiper back and forwards, or drop into a whole supine twist on one side. And then the other. Whatever suits. Whatever feels good. Before coming back and drawing yourself into Shavasana. So this time you might want to find your socks, find that wee blanket, and get yourself comfy in Shavasana. A wee track. wherever you are, settling the body. Allowing yourself to find comfort. And just allow the whole body to become heavy on the yoga mat. And then allow yourself to just follow the inhale and the exhale, the rise and fall. Focus on the feeling of heaviness. And allow the breath to come to a natural, resting, soft breath. And then just observe where the breath is starting and where the breath is finishing. And take a slow, steady inhale and a slow, steady exhale. And then just take a moment to slowly wake the hands, the toes, and then allow yourself very mindfully to move onto your side. And allow yourself to come back to seated. And take a moment with the inhale and exhale before we bring hands together. And thank you very much for joining Yin practice this evening. Hope you go and enjoy the lovely evening sunshine or a well-earned rest and a deep sleep.